like, share, and subscribe for more great Angry Guy content. And turn on notifications to never miss another Angry Guy video ever again. Now let's begin.
真的好难，今天我爸我
It's really hard to break even. Today, I showed my stocks to an experienced investor. He told me, get rid of it, cut your losses. When he said that, I felt a chill in my heart. If I quit now, that means I've lost all my money and I can't break even. But if I don't quit, I might lose even more. Right now, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I just want to break even. My losses have already reached 110,000 yuan. I have kids. Where am I supposed to make that much money to cover this gap? The speed at which I'm losing money in the A-shares market is just insane. My investments could be wiped out overnight.
Yeah, so guys, women are struggling financially like never before. You have women panicking all around the world as we are now seeing the effects of changing global landscape. Today's video comes from the China Unvarnished channel. Their channel will be linked in the description of the video so that you can go check them out, and some China Observer channel so that you can go. Their channel will be linked in the description of the video so that you can go check them out and support them. Watch it end of the video to fully understand the implications of the changing global economy and how this is going to lead to women struggling even more as winter has finally arrived. Don't forget to follow us over on Rumble. Our Rumble will be linked in the description of the video, so you can go and check us out over there. We're releasing most of our content exclusively on Rumble now, so you need to go and follow us on Rumble. And we'll go ahead and jump into the video right after a message, very short message from Angry's Crypto Academy. Guys, you can see that right now is one of the best times to jump into crypto. For those of you that are going through extremely hard times or preparing for hard times, this is your opportunity to become a millionaire. This is an opportunity to secure your future. So check out Angry's Crypto Academy. Learn to protect your wealth with crypto. Buy, sell, trade, and invest like a pro. Discover the next millionaire making coins. The link is in the description of the video. Now let's go ahead and jump right back into the video.
I can't even speak anymore. Just look at this. Yesterday, I lost tens of thousands. Today, I lost tens of thousands. I just want to advise everyone, especially those who love trading stocks, to be careful. I lost more than 9,000 today, and that's an entire month of salary gone. Honestly, men leaving me didn't make me cry, but this morning, when I opened my stock account, I couldn't hold back the tears. When you see others making money in the stock market, don't envy them.
Yeah, men leaving me didn't make me cry, but now the money leaving you is making you break down into tears. See, guys, women only view men as ATMs. They only want our attention. They only want our time. They only want our money. They don't actually want us. They don't actually like us. And now consequences have arrived.
When you lose money, you won't even see the tears. Just to correct myself, I didn't lose 420,000. That was just in the morning. By the time the stock market closed in the afternoon, I had lost 485,000. I'm fully invested in 13 stocks, and only 2 didn't hit the limit down. Didn't they say not to put all your eggs in one basket? Well, my basket just flipped over. New investors really shouldn't get into this. I'm a perfect example. Honestly, I don't even know how I got through this morning. From the moment the market opened, I lost 100,000 right away. That was just the beginning. This morning, I was so shaken I didn't even know where my heart was. My thoughts were completely out of control. I can't even describe what it's like to be heartbroken.
Notice, guys, it's mostly women that are now panicking, breaking down into tears as they're coming to the realization that hard times are here and that men are no longer there to supplement their lifestyles. Most of the money that they had invested in the markets has now essentially been wiped out. And keep in mind that while Trump has now put a 90-day pause on tariffs for the rest of the world with only a 10% reciprocal tariff on countries that have tariffs on us, in the case of China, he's actually increased the tariff from 104% now to 125% in response to them, placing a retaliatory tariff on the United States, saying that it was disrespectful. And the thing is that Xi Jinping is basically taking the path, that's the leader of China, taking the path that, China has been following rules and regulations, which is not correct. And, it's America that's bullying China, that's being disrespectful, that's being a bad trading partner, and China is not going to tolerate it. The thing is that the only way that their government is actually going to continue to survive is if people actually are able to thrive in the country. If people, and things have already been going very bad there economically. So If people are not able to survive, if people are not able to thrive, if there is no money, then guess what ends up happening? Then their system of government begins falling apart. Let's not forget that they have over 1 billion people. All right, China cannot control 1 billion people. If 1 billion people get pissed off, if 1 billion people literally say enough is enough, I mean it would be absolute and utter anarchy throughout the country. And now, what's really intriguing is that the people that are most freaking out, you would think would be men, but it's actually women, because women don't have anything to fall back upon. Women do not have men to fall back upon. Women do not have society to fall back upon. We're beginning to see that the state is pulling back globally on, the access to government funding, and men are pulling back on access to their money. So men are basically walking away. The state is walking away. Women were fed this lie that they are powerful, they don't need no man, they can survive, they can thrive all on their own. But women were not designed to live without a man. All right, women were not designed to live without a husband. A lot of people don't comprehend this. I really don't care. I just blocked them from the channel right away. But it's like they just keep coming and coming and coming. The Sims don't want to learn. The manosphere is filled with Sims. And I've said, why are there so many Sims in the manosphere? Because they have nowhere else to go. They have literally nowhere else to go. And these are some people, a lot of these people are responsible for the craziness that's happening in society right now. But modern women, they basically sold men out. They said, we don't like you, we don't want you, we don't need you. But now hard times are here and they don't know what to do. And of course, their response will be to blame men one way or another.
I'm numb. I'm completely numb. I'm losing more than 160,000 right now. I honestly don't know how to face this.
I'm not just upset about losing money. I'm upset because society has pushed us to this point. People in the internet industry lose their jobs when they turn 35. It's like saying goodbye to the workforce. I tried starting a business, but it failed because of the pandemic. Can you help me? Besides trying to make a living in the stock market, what other way is there to support my family? I'm feeling lost, and the stock market has been too brutal to us. Now I just don't know where to turn. Maybe I'll have to start driving for a ride-hailing service. I never expected my stock trading career to end like this. I started with 580,000, but now there's less than 170,000 left. I've already lost 415,000. Just today, I lost 40,000 in a single day. My account is about to be liquidated, and after this, I probably won't be able to update videos anymore. The market is just too harsh.
On April 7th, China's stock market experienced an epic collapse. By the close, the Shanghai Composite Index had fallen 7.3%, dropping below the 3,100-point mark. The Shenzhen Composite Index fell by 9.6%, and the Chinext Index dropped by 12.5%. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index closed down by 13.2%, with the Hang Seng Tech Index plunging by 17.2%. A total of 4,430 A shares fell by more than 10%, accounting for 98.44% of the 5,400 stocks being traded. Almost all of them hit the daily limit down. The market lost 7.5 trillion yuan in value in just one day, making it the day with the largest number of limit down stocks and the greatest loss in market value in history. This round of market crash was mainly triggered by the impact of a new round of high tariffs from the US, as well as China's retaliatory measures. On April 2nd, President Trump announced a reciprocal tariff on all trade partners.
Now, here's where things get actually quite interesting for the United States. We honestly do not sell a lot in China. So, for example, with the exception of things like the iPhone, China has set up barriers to prevent us from making significant amounts of money in their country while they send all their stuff over here. There's a saying that, well, they dump their junk in America and we basically are locked out of their economies. And it's true. Their economy, and it's very, very true. So them setting up a reciprocal tariff when our stuff comes into their country doesn't really affect us very much. It affects, the Chinese citizens, but it doesn't really affect us because they have alternatives. They'll buy alternative phones and so forth. And I mean, it does not directly, it doesn't hurt us. Because here again, most of our stuff is blocked. Even when it comes to our movies, we're limited on the amount of movies that we're allowed to show in the country. It's unbelievable. They changed it. They now have their own entire entertainment industry where they focus on promoting their entertainment, their movies, and so forth. So we'll still get their movies, but they won't necessarily get our movies, our shows. It's kind of a pointless endeavor. So it's like they can, and the thing is, like, it seems like Xi Jinping has this stance where, like, we're going to basically just keep on pushing and pushing, and like nothing that you say or do is going to lead to us breaking, and we'll find other trade partners. They're kind of taking the arrogant road of Canada right now, which is basically, like something like almost 40% of all global sales come you know are made in the United States. We have the largest economy in the world. If we lock you out of our economy, that's pretty much it. You are screwed. And you can see that China is experiencing the largest drop in history in terms of market largest market drop in history. Like, they're now heading towards Great Depression proportions. And Kevin, I don't really like Mr. Wonderful. I think if the devil was walking the earth, it would be Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary. That's who the devil would be. But he made some very interesting points. He was on CNN. I know you don't like CNN, but he was on CNN and he was actually talking about this, where he said that what Trump should be doing is he should place a 400% tariff on China. And he said that by the next day, Xi Jinping would be on a plane to the United States. Do I agree with him? Do I think that that would actually occur? I don't necessarily think so. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but something seems very wrong, very off with Xi Jinping. And it seems like China is ready to basically say, yeah, we'll take this, like, we'll take everything down. Like, you have to remember that the way that they view things is very, very different. And they will basically let everything go downhill. They'll take it's like they will go down on a sinking ship before they actually try to take real action, and they will claim that everyone else is a bully and everyone else is this and this and this. So do I think that we should do a 400% tariff? Absolutely. Do I think that it's going to get them to bend the knee? Probably not. I feel like they will let the country fall. I feel like this is just like, you're dealing with such levels of arrogance and ego that there's no winning. The only thing you can do is what's right for your own people. But I think that, but the good thing about this is that it can definitely rebalance the global economy, and other countries will be swooping in. It may take a couple of years trying to pick up the losses that we're seeing right now. So yeah, I mean, like, they'll, like, for example, there are parts that do come from China and blah 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 blah, and that's one of the big things. But aside from that, other companies will be swooping in, and they will be trying to pick up, like, the scrapes of whatever's left from China. So, oh, China can't do this anymore. Well, we're going to start to try to get this business. All of these countries are going to try to get the business that China will lose, and Trump has no problem with letting other countries have it. If they're going to treat us fairly, and, like, they'll build this, India will build this, and, like, there are no reciprocal tariffs, like, it's really a free market agreement, and there's, like, they really respect our intellectual properties, then it's 100% over. I think it could be very, very much over for China. Like I said, it could take a few years, but it could be a massive reshaping of the global stage. And you could end up looking at China in years from now as being like, as the world asking, how did China end up in the kind of condition that it currently is in? Because I don't think that China can survive very long. I don't think that China can go for more than a couple of years without collapsing. Like, their entire economy, like a complete and utter collapse. And I mean, like, it would, like, throwing them back, like a almost a century, like we're talking about. It would be horrific, the kinds of state poverty, destitution that we would be witnessing. And of course, men was what the first thing that happens when societies begin to collapse is men begin to run away from societies. This is one of the reasons why I keep telling you guys to don't focus on relationships, focus on getting your money. And one of the best ways to do that is by investing in crypto.
You something. When the banks collapse, and trust me, it's coming, will you be ready? Imagine waking up to ATMs that don't work, bank doors chained shut, and millions of people left with nothing. No cash, no access to their savings, and no way to survive. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. That's why I created Angry's Crypto Academy to teach you everything you need to know about crypto so you can protect yourself and your family. You'll learn how to buy, sell, and even day trade crypto for a living. Plus, we alert you to new crypto trends so you can profit before everyone else even knows what's happening. Right now, I've just published an exclusive investment guide inside the Academy, and it's linked in the description below. In it, I reveal the one coin that could make you a millionaire. A coin so revolutionary, it could change everything. If you missed out on Bitcoin and Ethereum, this is your second chance. This isn't just about financial freedom, it's about survival. When the system collapses and everyone else is selling, you'll be the one buying, prepared to weather the storm and thrive while others struggle to survive. Don't wait. This knowledge isn't optional, it's critical. The link's in the description. Go check it out now.
Cumulative 54% tariff on Chinese goods. On April 4th, the Chinese Communist Party announced countermeasures, including a 34% tariff on imports from the U.S., and filed a lawsuit against the U.S. through the World Trade Organization. Ms. Hu, who works at a leading securities firm in Shanghai, told foreign media that this Monday could be summed up as busy and panic-ridden. She explained that her colleagues had been working overtime during the Qingming Festival holiday to deal with the challenges of the tariff war. Many of them arrived at the office at 7 a.m. on Monday to prepare for the first trading day after the holiday, but the market's decline still exceeded expectations. Ms. Hu said the company had previously estimated that the impact of the U.S. tariff hike would be comparable to the 2008 global financial crisis, but based on today's market response, the consequences may be even worse than 2008. She expressed concern that the Chinese financial industry, which is already on edge, might face even greater risks of layoffs due to this additional shock. Chinese investors were in despair, with many saying that they had never seen such a disaster since they started investing in the market. Mr. Song posted a video on Douyin saying,
Why am I still upset about today's violent drop in A-shares? It's not because of the losses. The stock market has risks, and we know the rules. What bothers me is that, despite all the positive policies, the economy is starting to stabilize, and the fact that A-shares don't have systemic bubble risks. The Shanghai index should only slowly climb towards 4,000 points. There's no systemic risk of a decline. But this time, the market hit us hard again. I don't want to blame ourselves as retail investors. What I want to express is that in such a crucial time of the US-China rivalry, a stable capital market is so important for our economy. Why, knowing that there would be a significant drop on Monday, didn't our regulatory bodies or relevant departments hold a press conference around 8 a.m. on Monday warning about the risks of a sharp market decline and managing the risks in advance? Instead, they waited until after 2:30 p.m., when the market had already plummeted. They finally issued an announcement claiming that a mysterious force had entered the market. As a seasoned business owner and small enterprise boss, we've been supporting China's economy with real money. Why is it that every time we face a critical situation, we feel like no one is paying attention to us? If A-shares fall below 3,000 points because of a trade war, this 3,000-point curse may never be lifted.
A netizen from Sichuan posted in a group saying that he lost 4 years' worth of salary in one day, and with a credit card and debts totaling 400,000 yuan, he felt he couldn't survive. Many others were in a similar situation. Some were stuck with all their funds invested, others had margin calls, and worse, some had just sold their homes to invest in the stock market, only to lose both their house and money. Another netizen said, "The hardest part is for the stockholders. The clothes I wanted to buy, the gold jewelry I wanted, the car I wanted, none of it is happening. It all went to the stock market." China's stock market has long hovered around the 3,000 point mark and failed to break through a key resistance level for 17 years. The already fragile investor confidence quickly collapsed under the massive negative news. The US-China tariff war also triggered a global stock market slump. However, while the US stock market fell from its historic peak of 45,000 points, representing a high-level correction, A-shares starting from the low level of 3,000 points fell even deeper. The CCP had previously tried to use the US stock market's decline to shift focus and stir up anti-US sentiment. However, this blowback came much faster and more fiercely than expected. Even more unexpectedly, as the market approached the close on April 7th, China's two major state-owned enterprises stepped in to stabilize the market. At 2:30 p.m., Chinese state media, citing authoritative sources, announced that the Central Huijin Investment Company was actively engaging in market stabilization operations. Just 15 minutes before the market closed, the Central Huijin Company issued a statement, expressing firm confidence in the development prospects of China's capital markets. It stated, "We fully recognize the current value of A-share investments and have again increased our holdings in exchange-traded funds, ETFs. We will continue to increase our holdings and resolutely maintain the stable operation of the capital market." In response to the crisis, Chinese state media reassured investors, saying the sky is not falling. Central Huijin is stepping in and remains confident. However, such reassurances have proven ineffective. With the vast scale of China's stock market, relying solely on two major state-owned enterprises to stabilize the market is like trying to use a cup of water to put out a fire. Some netizens believe that retail investors should ignore what the government says and focus on what it actually does. Others stated, "Wouldn't a statement before the market opens have some effect? But now, with the sky already falling, does shouting make any difference?" Regarding the Chinese government's market rescue measures, William Xin, chairman of Chunshan Pujiang Investment Management, said that this support is not enough to offset the impact of the intensifying trade war. He said, "At this point, trying to buy cheap stocks feels like catching a falling knife, so I will hold cash until the situation stabilizes."
So I mean, their financial market, their system was already on the brink of collapse as a result of very low trust in it. And now this is happening, and the numbers are much worse than during the Great Recession of 2008. It's like I said, if it's much worse, that's depression level numbers. Now, can they come back from this? Of course they can. They can 100% come back from this if China were to come to the table, were to take the knee, and were to basically can make a lot of concessions. The concessions that Trump would be looking for would be quite significant, however. For one, there's going to have to be intellectual protection, and that's a big one that China is not going to want to concede. Even though they claim that they do, they're not. It would be a lot of different things. Another thing would also be the massive trade deficit that exists between the United States and China. The United States is going to, what did Donald Trump say? He said that when it came to the European Union, when it came to Europe, they would need to send us a massive amount of money, like a bunch of money, to get, to have those, to have the tariffs lifted. And it's a very interesting thing. Like in terms of China, like it's trillions and trillions of dollars. So and we've lost so much money as a result of this. So how are we going to deal with it? We've pumped all of this money into their economy while they've taken all of this money out of our economy. So I don't know. I don't really feel like Trump is going to make it very easy for them. I feel like there's going to have to be a significant concessions. I mean, and China's just not going to want to do this because that's not how their economy operates. Their economy operates by basically keeping us out while sending all of their stuff over to us and using our economy to grow their economy. It's a horrible cycle that's now led us into extraordinary states of poverty and destitution, where the United States is being basically disrespected, and they look at us as rich, and they're like, they don't care about us. They're like, we're just going to get as much money as we can out of these Americans. And it's like now it's like we don't even have it anymore. Look at what Japan is doing with the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo is the richest company in Japan, which means that they are also one of the most influential, if not the most influential company in Japan right now, and they are robbing Americans when it comes to the price of the Nintendo Switch. It's $343 in Japan. It's $450 in the United States. The games in Japan, to my understanding, are selling for less than $70 on average now, while in the United States they'll be selling for $80 to $90, depending if you're getting a digital version or physical version. This is insane, y'all. And it's not just that. Then they have like limited edition, just a limited edition, which is like not with like anything additional, selling for $100 for like garbage games that were $40, $20, $15, garbage games that I picked up for like $15 on Nintendo Switch. All right, are like collector editions for $30 on Nintendo Switch, or $20, which like where you would get like a CD and all of this other stuff. All right, they're now selling that for $100. They're not no no no. Now they're now selling just a game for $100. You've got to be kidding me. So we're being disrespected, we're being robbed, we're being treated very, very poorly, and Trump is making it clear that he's not going to tolerate it, he's not going to take it. Guys, we're going to see the greatest transfer of wealth going forward. I keep telling you, because the boomers, they're being wiped out by a lot of the things that are happening right here with the 401ks. One of the smartest things you can do for yourself, especially now that people are like, oh my God, we can't trust the 401ks. They're going to be jumping even more rapidly into cryptocurrency because we know they are greedy. And if there's one thing that you can actually believe in when it comes to the boomers, is their greed. They want all the toys for themselves, so they're going to try to buy as much crypto as they can, take over the world. You take over the crypto worlds using crypto ETFs, but it's basically limited when it comes to crypto ETFs. There's a very limited amount of crypto. There's only a very limited amount of crypto they can actually load into these ETFs. So the boomers are going to be rushing into these ETFs, trying to buy up the crypto that's available in these ETFs, and it's only going to result in the value of crypto going up significantly. All right. So those of you that are invested right now, congratulations. Those of you that are not invested, get invested. There's also a specific coin that every single one of you should have in your portfolio. Many of you that are in the academy know what coin I'm talking about. For those of you that don't know, right now it's a great opportunity to go and get some. It's like buying Bitcoin at $100. All right. Everyone needs to have this coin in their portfolio. There's also a series of other coins that are going to mint new millionaires, but there's a specific coin that everyone should be holding right now. And I've been emphasizing this over and over and over in the Crypto Academy. So I want every one of you to be successful. I want all of you to get your money. One great thing that's going on right now is we actually we have a sale happening over in the Academy. It's incredible, 50% off. You should definitely go and check it out if you want to. If you want to like secure your future and don't miss and become a millionaire, because it's and so when everything crashes down and everyone's struggling to survive, you'll actually be thriving.
Actually have an incredible sale happening right now over at Angry's Crypto Academy. Everything is 50% off. So definitely go and check it out before the sale ends. The Academy is linked in the description of this video.
Is a wholly owned subsidiary of China Investment Corporation, a state-owned company established by the State Council of the CCP, often referred to as the Financial State-Owned Asset Supervision and Administrations Commission. Hui Jin is one of the national team investors supported by the CCP, tasked with stabilizing the market during turbulent times. Looking at previous instances, such as the 2015 stock market crash and the CCP's implementation of monetary policies in the fourth quarter of 2024, while these interventions can boost the market in the short term, they are unlikely to provide long-term stability. Why has China's stock market struggled for 17 years, lingering around the 3,000-point mark, while stock markets in countries like the US, India, and France have soared? Let's take a look at the number of stocks in China's market. The Chinese stock market is only 30 years old, but A shares now number over 5,400, almost catching up to the 200-year-old US market. Since 2015, the number of listed companies has doubled. The rapid expansion has outpaced the capacity for capital supply, and the sharp increase in the number of stocks has led to the dispersion of funds, making it harder for indices to rise. In addition, many fundamental systems and regulations in China's capital markets are deeply flawed. These issues stem from regulators' lack of expertise and, in some cases, their collusion with capital interests. The lack of effective regulation, along with frequent violation of rules by listed companies, exacerbates market volatility and puts retail investors at a disadvantage. In contrast, the long bull market performance of the U.S. stock market is closely tied to its mature capital markets, efficient capital allocation mechanisms, and stable economic environment. Notably, after China announced a 34% tariff increase on U.S. goods in retaliation for the U.S. tariffs, President Trump threatened on April 7th to impose an additional 50% tariff on China, forcing China to retract its retaliatory measures. This brings the total tariff on Chinese goods to 104%. On April 8th, China's Ministry of Commerce announced that if the U.S. escalates tariffs, China will firmly take countermeasures to protect its rights. In fact, many Chinese scholars do not agree with China's tough measures. He Bin, a scholar at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, criticized China's approach on WeChat, calling it completely the wrong kind of retaliation, like, if you hit your wife, I'll hit my wife. He argued that the correct countermeasure would be to implement unilateral zero tariffs on imports from all countries. However, these criticisms were quickly silenced. The Chinese Academy of Social Sciences announced the closure of its Public Policy Research Center, and the center's website and WeChat account were shut down and cancelled. President Trump's tariff war this time primarily targets Southeast Asian countries, imposing a 46% tariff on Vietnam, 49% on Cambodia, and 36% on Thailand. However, Southeast Asian countries, led by Vietnam, now have an attitude that sharply contrasts with China. Vietnamese leader To Lam spoke with President Trump and announced that Vietnam would lower the import tariffs on goods from the U.S. to zero. He also suggested that the U.S. should apply reciprocal treatment towards Vietnam. To Lam made it clear that Vietnam is willing to negotiate for zero tariffs, which was welcomed by Trump. U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin has stated that tariffs are negotiable and could potentially be lowered in the future. In contrast to China's hardline stance, Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te announced 5 strategies through a national address, stating that Taiwan would not retaliate with tariffs. Instead, Taiwan would negotiate for zero tariffs, modeled after the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. Lai also proposed industrial support plans and long-term economic development plans, emphasizing new industrial cooperation between Taiwan and the U.S. Thailand and Malaysia are also seeking compromise, signaling that these countries are unwilling to bear the high tariffs for China's benefit. This starkly contrasts with China's confrontational approach, which further isolates itself. This global tariff war is likely to evolve into a precision strike targeting China alone, similar to the U.S.-China trade war during Trump's first term. At that time, China attempted to sidestep U.S. tariffs by using Southeast Asian countries and Mexico for transshipment trade and shifting production overseas. Clearly learning from past lessons, Trump has now focused on closing the loopholes in transshipment trade to prevent Chinese goods from entering the U.S. market through backdoor routes. However, while China's tough countermeasures show resolve, they have only intensified the tariff war. As Trump follows through with a 50% tariff increase on China, it will undoubtedly deliver a new heavy blow to China's economy and stock market. Given China's current economic backdrop, after the 2018 trade war, the pandemic, and the real estate market crash, A-shares may once again fall into the 3,000-point curse. As tariffs on China reach 104%, Chinese goods will lose almost all their competitiveness in the U.S. market. Export companies will face sharply reduced orders, evaporating profits, and even bankruptcy risks, particularly small and medium-sized enterprises reliant on the U.S. market. In 2018, China's exports to the U.S. dropped by about 20%, and with even higher tariffs now, the impact will be even more severe. Taiwan's central news agency analyzed that when the tariff rates between China and the U.S. exceed 60%, trade between the two largest economies in the world will shrink to almost nothing. Decoupling between China and the U.S. has become a major topic of concern. High unemployment and economic downturn are already critical issues for China. The intensification of the tariff war will exacerbate this trend, potentially triggering large-scale layoffs and business closures. The sharp decline in the Chinese stock market also reflects the public's despair over the economic outlook. Executive Director Lai Rongwei of the Taiwan Inspiration Association stated that China believes its measures to counteract the U.S. sanctions are essentially severing ties with other countries, leading China into isolation. He believes that Taiwanese businessmen and investors from other countries must stay away from China, as they might be trapped by China, that are lured in, stuck, and ultimately discarded. Faced with high unemployment and economic downturn, Lai Rongwei believes that China uses countermeasures to deflect attention, but this strategy does not help improve the political or economic situation. If China's economy continues to decline, it will destabilize society and increase the risk of CCP collapse. The China Aid Association's comments on China's stock market have pointed out that the root causes of China's stock market problems are the same as the deep-rooted issues in China itself: a lack of rule of law, freedom, and human rights. The CCP is eager to use power to stimulate and create false bubbles, enticing and deceiving the public into saving the market with their own money. This will inevitably lead to waves of suffering for the people.
So, I mean, guys, this could be another thing that Trump is actually pushing to do. Like I said, they cannot control 1 billion, over 1 billion people. If everything is starting to collapse, and what's going to end up happening is people go to the bank doors are chained up. ATMs stop working. They can't take their money out. People start panicking. And what do they do in China? Well, whatever assets they have left over, they start rushing to purchase cryptocurrency. Guys, I keep on telling you, buy crypto, because when there's no money, when you cannot go to the bank, the only place where you're going to be able to have access to any money is going to be with cryptocurrency, is going to be in crypto, guys. So definitely go and check out our sale over in Angry's Crypto Academy. But what do you think regarding all of this? Women are struggling financially like never before. Let me know if you agree that it's only going to get worse it's only going to get worse from here. And we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and share.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.